Welcome to I'm Too Busy, an interview-based show hosted by a talented makeup artist, Christina Flach. Christina offers viewers a unique blend of personal stories, inspiring journeys, and practical beauty tips. Join the conversation as Christina features successful individuals from various industries who share their insights on health, wellness, makeup, and the keys to their success. So now, please welcome the host of I'm Too Busy, Christina Flach.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of I'm Too Busy, where we dive into the lives of inspiring entrepreneurs and industry professionals who are making waves despite their packed schedules. I am your host, Christina Flach, and today I am super excited to introduce you to Katya Karlova.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. You have an incredible story.
Thank you. It's been a wild ride.
Well, so you're originally from Moldova and you immigrated to the United States as a child and then built an impressive career and 15-year global career in talent management. You have a degree from UCLA and the University of London along the way. You were a corporate VP and you were recognized as one of the top 50 talent professionals in the United States and receiving the UCLA Young Alumnus of the Year award. During COVID, Katya made a dramatic career shift that would change her life forever. While in isolation, she confronted lifelong struggles with body dysmorphia, anxiety, and depression. Through therapy, self-reflection, and an unconventional approach, breaking into modeling to reclaim control over her self-image, Katya embarked on a journey of transformation. This newfound confidence empowered her to advocate for herself within the healthcare system, ultimately leading to a life-changing endometriosis diagnosis. So today, with over 500,000 followers across social media, Katya uses her platform to promote body positivity, feminine power, and self-love, while raising awareness for endometriosis and advocating for change in women's healthcare. She has been featured in prestigious publications such as Forbes, Grazia, and Cosmopolitan, and partners with brands that align with her mission. Adding to her impressive list of accomplishments, Katya's debut book is set to launch in this summer. Wow, my friend, you are a busy girl.
It's been, like I said, it's been a wild ride. Switching career paths, dramatically switching career paths, was probably the biggest. And then now I can't even believe I ever worked in the corporate world. I don't know how I did it.
Isn't it amazing? So what was the pivotal moment that inspired this dramatic career change?
It was a couple of things. So growing up in the early, 2000s was always uncomfortable with my body, probably like so many other women. I naturally am just curvy. I was never like a size 0. And so I always struggled with kind of being the curvy one. And so I never thought I could model and, didn't think I was pretty enough. And, I think that was always kind of in the back of my head. It was like always there. And then
why was that? Was it like how your relationship with your parents, or like where did that come from, do you think?
I think it partially was like I think it was like probably threefold. It was probably like my parents, who are Soviet, very Russian, like you need to
Right.
the land for supermodels, right? So there was probably that. And then it was just like the culture of the early 2000s was like low-rise jeans, Paris Hilton, level skinny. And then, probably just my own insecurities with myself, just did not feel comfortable in my own skin for so long without even really realizing it. Like I didn't even know I had body dysmorphia. I didn't realize it.
And what made you realize it?
Well, so it was, I mean, one, it was like my husband who was like, you have body dysmorphia. You really, like this is a thing. And then, I think working through it in therapy and then just trying to confront it like head on. I'm very much that type of person. I'm like all or nothing. So I was like, I'm going to confront this. I'm going to do some photo shoots because a big part of body dysmorphia is you just don't see yourself the way that other people do. Like it's like this constant disconnect. And that's what it was for me. And then but ironically, when I was working in corporate, the creative production team was always asking me to be in their commercials as a model. And I was like, "Well, that's interesting." I was like, "Hmm." I was like that I maybe I it, to the point that my boss was joking like, "Do you want to just go join that team like and be a model?" And I was like, "I don't know." Like in my head I was like, "I don't know." But to him I was like, "No,
Maybe.
no." And then so then it just kind of happened like part-time. I started doing photo shoots and then, and then my Instagram grew and I started doing brand collabs and then it just grew over time. But I can't believe like how big of a difference it makes when you feel confident in your body. And I really want that for everyone because it's really hard actually when you don't, and it impacts your life way more than you realize. That's what
Right.
I
I
did.
mean, life must just feel so much lighter and easier now that you feel comfortable in your skin, right?
So much lighter. That's the best way. That's literally the word that I use. It's just lighter because you're not like it's almost like it's almost like carrying the weight of those thoughts, of those insecurities like is heavy. Like it's
Hmm.
physically like you're physically
Right.
carrying it all the time. So it just, yeah, it was uncomfortable. And then, COVID was the first time that you could actually like sit and think about these things. It
Right.
was
Because
like
you were too busy running around living life. And then you were stuck like not.
exactly. It was like overnight we went from like running around like, crazy, like work, gotta eat, gotta work out, gotta cook dinner, gotta do this. And then all of a sudden it's like, you can't leave your house.
That was just the weirdest time. I mean, honestly, to me, that was the darkest period in life.
I was gonna say,
And
how
I've
was
had
that
some doozy dark ones, and it was almost like the world went upside down to me.
during that period?
Like, do you remember like when you would go get in line to go into the supermarket and then have to walk down the aisles one way and then come back up the other way? I mean, it just seems so absurd to me.
I remember, it was so weird. Like, I had such a, and I think probably for me, the experience was so, I mean, I did all the same things. Like, I made banana bread, like, I tried to make my own, whatever. But I also just like having that time, like, away from other people to like really commit to therapy and commit to like a workout routine and actually
Hmm.
like make time for it.
Hmm.
I had never had that, like, luxury before, I was always working, like, 60, 80-hour weeks. So I and then
Wow.
all of a sudden, like, everybody was trying to figure out how to use Zoom, and, we were at a health tech company, so that was, like, extra paranoid, and, so I actually, like, weirdly enjoyed it, like, the time away.
I could understand that. I can understand that.
I think it
How do
was just
you
because I had so much I needed to work through I didn't even realize, and it was my only
Well,
chance.
how great that you were able to do that. I mean, for you, COVID was an absolute blessing and life-changing in a positive way.
Yeah, it
I
really
love
was.
hearing that because always, you hear so much negativity about that time. For me, it was really difficult not to be able to work. My other career is being a makeup artist and owning a makeup company. No one was buying makeup. I didn't think I was touchable with my being a makeup artist because there's always TV. film, you know, photo shoots, there's, weddings, there's something. And then there was nothing. It was just, I couldn't even believe it.
Completely understand how you feel because my some of my closest friends are in the beauty industry, whether they're makeup artists or they're stylists or other anything, and all of a sudden everything was just gone, and they just didn't know how they were gonna, they couldn't make their mortgage payments, and I just
Right.
think that the way
Very
that
scary.
the company, and also just mass layoffs at the same time. Like working
Right.
in HR, I remember, we actually weren't laying off at that time, but there were so many people who were. And so it's like, I couldn't even imagine, like, you're unemployed. How are you going to find it? It was very difficult. Just for me, that was one of those few just real like blessings though. Ironically,
Well,
it was
I
scary
love
too.
hearing that.
It was very scary. I will say that. Like I tried to focus on the other stuff because I was like, I don't want to think about the fact that I could go outdoors and die because of it. Like I don't want to
Right,
think
right,
about it.
right. Let's go move on from COVID because it's like, I want
No
to
more.
talk about you. How has your experience as an immigrant from Moldova shaped your perspective on success and personal growth, do you think?
I think hugely. It's actually um what's really interesting is I was just writing about this in one of the chapters of my book is like the concept of self-advocacy. If you are an immigrant, like one of the things that I didn't have is I didn't have like parents who had connections. Like I didn't have parents who had like so many of my friends were, they had a mom or a dad who was like a lawyer, or they could get them an internship, or they could get them this, or they could get them that. And I didn't have any of that. So, and then I also didn't have parents who could help me with my homework because they didn't speak English. So I
Right,
from the beginning, I always felt like like my whole life was, I didn't have a safety net. Like it was very make it or break it. It was,
right. That's a lot of pressure for a young person, don't you think?
it was. And I actually like think about it now. And I think that's why I didn't really have like a true childhood because I, I really just felt, yeah, like this enormous amount of pressure from a really early age to succeed, to be really, to be the best, to do the best in school with no real help. Like there was no way that my parents could help me with my homework, for example. I think they did their best, absolutely,
Right, of course.
but they, unless it was in Russian,
Right.
they could help then. I mean, and my parents are highly educated too, so that was the weird irony of it is like they were my dad has two PhDs. He's like a literal
Oh my
genius.
gosh.
My mom is an architect, and they're so smart, but they couldn't they couldn't help me with my like algebra homework.
Right. What brought them to the United States?
So we were very lucky, actually. My dad received a job offer from UC Berkeley,
Oh,
and so our chance to kind of escape Moldova. We didn't have the opportunity to leave and seek religious asylum. So our only way to leave was like this lifeline to go with his job offer. So we took it. We didn't tell anyone. We like really escaped. We told everyone we were going on a sabbatical, and we left all our furniture and everything that we owned except for what could fit in a few suitcases, and we left.
wow. Were you scared? How old were you?
I was 6.5, almost 7. I was, it's really weird. I wasn't scared. I should have been. But I was more like, "What are we doing? Like, is this an
You were
adventure?"
so
Like,
little. You know what? I think it's because you were so young that you just, how could you? You had no idea. So did your parents tell you when you were leaving, like, don't say we're leaving? Did they even tell you that they were leaving, that you guys were leaving?
They did, and
How
then
much
they just
notice did you know?
so it was only a few weeks, and they just said, "Don't like you're not allowed to tell anyone. Like you're not allowed to say to anyone this. Like you're not, you have to keep it quiet. Don't say anything." And I was like, okay, like
Was that hard? I mean, I would think that would be really hard for a young, like to not tell your best friend, like, by the way, I'm running away with my family and I'm never coming back. I mean, that must have, did you even think that far?
I think they kind of kept me at home. Like if I think back to that time, I don't remember like leaving our house very often, like in that time period.
Mm,
So I think I was like not, I think they were very cautious to the point that I was like not unattended. Like I wasn't with my friends. Like it was just
right.
very we were at home and that was it. And there wasn't anybody I was going to be communicating with. So yeah, I mean um it was it was really more coming here was so crazy. America is for a young child from any other country, America is wild.
Oh,
Like
I'm sure. I'm sure it must have been such a crazy change. So you moved to Berkeley?
we moved actually to the East Bay. We lived in Danville of all
Oh,
places,
okay.
which is funny because we lived with a family who we helped emigrate, and they were Jewish, so they were actually able to leave, and so they lived there, and then they helped us, and we lived with them when we moved. So it was kind of
Oh,
like a circle of things kind of working out. So we helped them emigrate, and then they helped us, and so we were there, and we were in the East Bay. And I'm sure you're familiar with it, and it was just it was a nice place to grow up. I mean, definitely. I mean, it's beautiful. It's changed so much, I think, since
I
the
was
90s.
literally there a week ago. My cousin lives there. I live in Marin and I have all my family's in the East Bay, so I know exactly where you grew up.
Isn't it? It's just beautiful, but it's all
It is
changed
beautiful.
so much.
It
You
is.
know,
It's so different.
like I remember watching, like, if you watch movies, San Francisco of the early 90s and
Mhm.
San Francisco today, unrecognizable.
Well, yeah, because it's filthy and disgusting, and it's yeah, it is filthy and disgusting. That's for
It
sure.
San Francisco now, I'm like, where's the charm?
Yeah,
Where
there's it's hard to find charm when there's so much ugliness on the
it
street. It's so sad.
it's
It
so
really
sad.
is.
It honestly really is because I lived in Berkeley actually not that long ago. I before we moved back to Los Angeles, we were actually in literally in Berkeley. And I was working in Oakland, and this was in 2017, 2018. And I was like, God, like even this area has changed. I mean, Marin is stunning.
Right. Marin
But
hasn't changed that much. It's pretty much the
Marin
same.
has not changed. It is a beautiful little blue zone of perfection. And like,
It really
I
is.
think it really is. And then Berkeley, it really, I missed Los Angeles. I needed to get back here, I think. Of all the places I've lived, the only two have ever felt like home, and that's London and Los Angeles.
We are going to take our first commercial break. I'm Christina Flach, and I'm too busy.
Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorick, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorick has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
So Katya, tell me, you grew up in the East Bay and then you went to college at UCLA and then you went to study in London. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that? What were you studying? Did you love it?
I absolutely loved it. I will be completely honest. My parents were expecting me to go to law school. I was not wanting to go to law school. I went to London on a trip during my time at UCLA, and I just fell in love with it. I was like, I have to live here. Come hell or high water, I have to live here. And I applied to all the universities in London, and I got a scholarship at University College London, and I was like, I'm going. That's it. Like, I'm 21 years old and I'm moving to London. I
Look
just,
at you.
I loved it so much. I don't know how to describe, uh, just the culture, everything about it. I love the rain even. I could have lived in London forever, but my visa expired. So
How long were you there?
3 years.
Oh, that's a long time. My daughter went to Central St. Martin's and studied women's wear, and she lived there for 4 years, and she feels exactly the same way you do. So
It's something about
you got another degree at the University of College of London, and you moved back. So tell me a little bit. So you were in 15 years in talent management. How did you like that? What was that like for you?
So it was great. I actually started my career in London. So I did my master's actually in 1 year, and then I started working. I don't know why I was so eager to graduate. Like now I think back, I'm like, what an idiot. Like should have stretched that time out as long as humanly possible. I really did. I graduated UCLA in 3 years and then my master's in one because I was so eager to start working. And now, whenever I meet a young person, I'm like, don't do that. Stay in school for as long
Slow down.
parents will pay for it, or as long as you can stretch those student loans. Like, I don't know what I was in such a hurry for, but I started working. I fell into talent acquisition and talent management and just the talent world, and I was really good at interviewing and really assessing someone's potential, their strengths, their weaknesses, and I stayed in that field for the entirety of my career. And for a lot of it, I loved it, especially moving on to like leadership coaching and being able to teach people. I mean, I've interviewed thousands of leaders how to be better leaders, and they're it was actually really great. And part of it is the foundation of my book. A lot of the things that I learned,
Mm-hmm.
um, interviewing so many different people across different industries. But I think at the end of the day, I just couldn't, I there's just, like I said, COVID was transformational for me. And I just, as much as I just couldn't go back to like the way things were, you know?
Well, you changed a lot because you had done so much work on yourself. So you weren't the same person as you were before. What skills do you think um, that you obtained from your corporate career that have proven valuable now with your current endeavors?
I think resilience is the big one. I think bravery, courage, however you want to you want to look at it. I do think that my being kind of in the employer branding marketing world did help me to kind of understand the field that I'm in now,
Hmm.
understanding like how marketing works and the back end like analytics piece of it as a creator. I think a lot of
Hmm.
creators don't necessarily they can create, but they don't really know how to analyze, for example, like the data on the back end. And I think
Hmm.
that that is a strength, being able to do that, even though it's not fun and I don't enjoy it, I can do it.
Hmm.
So I think there's that. Uh, I think those were probably the main things. I would I would think. I think the employer branding piece, honestly, because it's kind of as a creator, it's like as a content creator, instead of it's like you're working with companies, but in the talent acquisition world, we were just branding the company,
Hmm.
so it's similar, just not exactly the same, but there's a lot of similarities, more than I thought, actually. But there's just not enough. I had such a thirst for creativity, being able to be creative, and I didn't have that opportunity in the corporate world. The corporate world has not yet caught up to how much changed after COVID. Like their employees feel one way, and the corporate world feels differently. It's actually.
That is interesting. You've built a following over 500,000 people across social media. What responsibility do you feel comes with having this platform with so many followers?
I do feel like there's a sense of responsibility that comes with it, and I think that I look at it as I think that there's so much difficulty in the world. I think there's a responsibility to be authentic in a world where you sometimes don't know what's real and what's not, and not just with AI. I just mean in general. I think there's like
Mhm.
a responsibility to be authentic, and I think there's it's interesting actually, when I because I thought about this when I went through my endometriosis like struggles, and I was having surgery after surgery in a 6 month time period. I wasn't sure, do I share this or do I not share this? Like,
Mhm.
is this
Is it
oversharing?
appropriate or is it not appropriate? Yeah, it's like
Exactly.
a fine line. You want to be open and transparent, but then you're like,
Exactly.
okay, how much is too much? So that is a challenge, I would think.
And so I really felt like, and then also to be honest, I was like, I don't want to share because I don't want people to think I'm like, soliciting sympathy, or, like I don't want people to feel bad for me. Like I just want to be like, I just want to suffer in silence.
Yeah, I
But
get that. It's like a private thing. It's not something that, I mean,
yeah, but
I could imagine it being something that it's a difficult thing. It's probably painful and emotional. There's probably so many emotions going on with it, right?
so many emotions. And then what was interesting is, so for a while I didn't share. I just took a social media break. But then when I came back, I thought, I have a responsibility to, I was like, what strengthens stigma? Silence. So if I'm silent about this, all that will do is strengthen the stigma around women's uh, sexual and reproductive health. And that
Mhm.
is the worst thing that can happen. So after that, and when I started sharing more about my endo journey, I was shocked by how many people knew someone who had endometriosis, or like they personally had it, or so like their wife or their sister, someone close to them, and they were like, this is awful. I'm so glad that you're talking about this. It's so stigmatized. It's unfair. And then that was the first time that I realized I had a responsibility. But
Right.
up until that point, I really was like, oh my God, like, okay, I do have a responsibility to share for, so that, it took me 22 years to be diagnosed. That's horrific.
Oh my
Hopefully,
gosh.
if I share, then it won't be so stigma, it won't be such a stigma, and that maybe in the future there'll be an actual test that a woman can take and just find out if she has it, and she won't lose her fertility or organs or all the things that I lost.
Oh my gosh. Do you have children?
No, and I never will.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That must be really hard for you. Can you tell me about your upcoming book and what can people expect to learn from your story?
So my upcoming book is called Invisible Pain, Unstoppable Power, and a lot of it is about my entire journey, kind of my life journey, and about, I think, about courage and resilience, and whether you have an invisible illness, or maybe something else that you feel like are invisible chains around you, something that is kind of stopping you from moving forward. This is a book about how to move forward, how to turn that pain into purpose, and that pain into power, and how to turn it into something productive. Because yes, it is painful, and going through things that I did were painful, but there is a way to move forward, and there is a way. It's an incurable disease, but that doesn't mean you can't heal. And
Hmm.
I think that, and that's really my message, is there are ways, and there are lessons in life that you can turn something good out of something bad. And like for me, I might not be able to have give birth, but I can give birth to a project, or an idea, or a movement, or something else that's beneficial. I can still leave a legacy of some kind. It'll just be different. And it's how do we change our thinking about it from, and I really have been at my lowest low, with that, not expecting it, not knowing how to feel about it, to coming out the other end. And so this book is really just is saving everyone the years of therapy, I think, that I went through,
Right.
condensed down, into, I think, what are some of the most valuable lessons that I've learned along the way.
How do you select brand partnerships that align with your mission of body positivity and women's health advocacy?
Yeah, so I never work with a brand unless I would buy their products myself. Unless I would go and be like, here is my money. Like, so that I've only ever worked with brands that I either loved their products to begin with, or I tried them and absolutely loved them and wanted to share them. So I started out, just sharing like really authentically, just like brands that I loved, and then went on to share. And sometimes that's limiting, sometimes that's limiting, but at least I think that it's authentic. People know that if I'm sharing a brand, then it's because I genuinely tried them and I love them. And I think that, and I want them to to share them with my audience and women who have a curvier figure or are interested in beauty, the different. I'm just now starting to share different makeup brands. I honestly didn't think anyone cared what makeup I use, but I'm like starting to share more. But it's weird. People are interested in the most strange things. They want to know like
Things
things.
that you don't think are that important, but when they look at you and they see that you're such a beautiful woman, they want to know, like, okay, how can I look like that? What is she doing to look like that? I want some of that. I mean, we all kind of do that. I mean, with our friends, like, oh, what cream are you using?
Yeah.
What foundation? I totally get that. What has been the most challenging aspect of your career transformation?
I think a lot of it, I think the most challenging has been, stereotypes and stigmas. I think there are a lot of stereotypes that still exist about being a curvier woman, and if you are um, sharing, lingerie or anything like that, you're automatically, people will kind of stereotype you as um into kind of one kind of unfavorable and not very nice category. And I think that's
Mm.
really unfair because fuller bust women, the average bra size in America is the 34 double D. That is a fuller bust, so
Right, definitely.
we we buy clothes and we shop, and and so like I want to show what kind of bras fit a fuller bust, what kind of brands are good for curves, but there's still societally, I think, this like rigid, like almost puritanical kind of sense about women and judging women, and I think it's really a little bit unfair. So that is something that I've faced. I think that has been difficult is people's judgment that I didn't expect.
You've been featured in Forbes, Grazia, Cosmopolitan. I mean, that's incredibly, incredibly impressive. What message do you hope to convey through these media appearances?
I th- I think a few, but my biggest one is I want to change I want to change the story for women. I want women to feel like they can own their their feminine power in a way that I think they don't feel comfortable right now, because I want women to know that they can be sensual and they can be professional, and they can be all these different aspects of themselves. They don't need to put themselves into a box. You can be sexy and you can be smart. You don't have to choose one or the other.
Right.
Like
It's not one or the other.
you
You're
can
right.
be all the things that you are, and it's not for anyone to judge. The only person who is your ultimate judge is you, and that you should feel absolutely comfortable being all the aspects of who you are. And I think that society needs to get on board with that, because it's still, even though the body positivity movement has come a long way, and equality movement has come up, we've got a long way to go, really, in many ways.
Hmm.
And this is the analogy I always make. If you think about ancient goddesses, what were the ancient goddesses of? They were the ancient goddesses of like love and war. Okay. Very, different things. Love, war, this, that, although you don't have to pick. You can be all the aspects of who you are. And I think that right now there's like this rumbling of women recognizing their feminine power. And I want to just encourage them to do it, and to move into it and really own it, and recognize that um, they don't have to play the patriarchy game. They can play their own game.
Looking ahead, what are your goals for the next 5 years, both professionally and with your advocacy work?
That's a great question. I hope that I'm excited for book one. I'd like to do a book two. I have another topic in mind. I want to continue to do more public speaking. I think that's a big one. I've just founded my endometriosis nonprofit, the Endovisible Foundation. So I'm really excited to raise money for research so that we can at one point, if not get to a cure, at least get to some effective treatment options. I
Mhm.
think that at least would make women feel like this is a disease they can live with. And I think, you know, really for me, it's just doing those things. If I can help the endometriosis awareness, if my nonprofit can work, if I can share that message, and how help empower women in a unique way, then I'll be happy in 5 years.
I'm Christina Flach. We are going to take another commercial break and we will be right back with Katya to finish chatting about all that is her.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network, and tune in radio as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Katya, so where is your happy place? Where does your soul live? I think I know what you're going to say, but I'm going to ask anyway.
My happy place is in, it used to be in the Pacific Grove, actually, near Monterey and Carmel, where the
Mhm.
Monarch Sanctuary is. Um, that beach, and I'm blanking on the name of that, Asilomar Beach
Mhm.
used to
Yeah.
be my absolute happy place. I would just imagine the fog rolling in. But recently I went to Cannes, and
Oh,
I um, went up into the Cannes hinterlands, the hills right above Cannes, and I fell in love. I fall asleep just thinking about it now. That just that
yeah.
area, the pace of life, so different, the just so different than I think the pace of life here. And that is my new happy place.
I love that. So my next question was going to be that you love to travel. Where's your favorite place in adventure? But you've just answered that. So we'll go to the next one. What's your favorite motto and quote? Do you have one?
I do. I do. So my biggest life motto is that you can't control your circumstances, but you can control how you respond to them. And
Hmm.
so you always have a choice. You are never powerless. And I remember delivering the commencement address actually to the UCLA graduating International Institute graduating class of 2020. So
Wow.
imagine this was 2020. This was a few months into the pandemic. This was during a time of extreme social upheaval. Um, you know, people were scared. These students were graduating to the most uncertain world that you can imagine. And I was the one who was giving that. I mean, I've never felt so panicked in my life. I never had such bad anxiety, but that was the message that I had for them, is that you can't control this. Obviously, nobody could have, but how you emerge from this and what you take away from this, that will define your future. So there is hope at the end of the day, if you don't let this beat you. And then I think probably the second one is, that's always defined my life, is life begins outside your comfort zone. But I recently realized it's because in a way, I never had a comfort zone, so that was sort of my approach. But I think that, like, if something scares you, sometimes it scares you because it scares you because it can transform you, and that's scary.
Hmm. What do you do when your day isn't flowing?
When my day isn't flowing, oh, I
Hmm.
take a nap.
Take a nap.
I take a nap. Yeah. If my
I
day is
love.
just not flowing, not going well, like, as in, like, it's just the day is not, like, off to not a good like, I'll take like a 20-minute, like, meditation break. I just, like, try to disconnect, clear my mind, do like a mental reset. I think
Right.
is probably the best way to say it. It's like, not really, and it ends up being a nap sometimes, but not intentionally. But it really is. It's like that 20 minutes to just try to reset whatever's gotten off on, the wrong foot, or the bad news, or whatever it might be.
How important is self care to you, and what are a few of your favorite things to do to spoil yourself?
Self-care, and self-love are probably one of the, like, top 3 most important things to me, and I think it's because I, finally realized that, self-care is not selfish. It's actually necessary, and I think as women, there's just so many expectations get put on us that we end up prioritizing ourselves last. And then when we take time for self care, we feel guilty about it. And that is so the wrong mindset. Like, when
Well,
we
what do you do? What are your favorite things to do to spoil yourself?
to spoil myself, I love a spa. I love a spa day. That's like the
Hmm.
biggest one for me. But it's actually the little things. It's actually things like setting boundaries. Like, that's actually the things I do, to spoil myself. It's not just like a spa day, or time out in nature is like something I do to spoil myself, or go get a massage is one of my favorite things. But it's actually like saying no, like setting boundaries. Those are like the biggest, like, self-care things for me, because I tend to not want to, like, I will want to do everything, and then I have to recognize, like, when I can't. And living with
What's
a
your
chronic illness teaches you that fast. But
what's your workout and diet? What are your favorite workout and diet tips?
So I follow a kind of super strict anti-inflammatory diet, kind of Mediterranean based,
Hmm.
um, gluten-free, alcohol-free. I haven't actually haven't drank alcohol in like 8 years. Just personal choice. I did it as like getting healthier 1 month, and then like 1 month turned into three, and then it just became like a way of life because I felt so much better. And it probably has had to do with the fact that I had undiagnosed endometriosis, and alcohol was making it worse, and I just didn't know that. But I
Right.
felt so much better, so I was like, oh well, I'm just not going to drink then. I feel like way better. Um, and uh, and then for workout routine, I've done hot yoga and it makes me feel amazing, but it is just so hard to do and to motivate myself to do. So I prefer like more gentle, like regular yoga, Pilates type of routine.
Yeah,
That's
I used to go do Bikram all the time, and it just got so ridiculously hot. I found other yoga classes that were warm, but not so hot that I was like needing an IV because I was so dehydrated, you know?
Yes, that is what hot yoga was for me. I mean, look, I love it. The results you get from it are amazing. You do genuinely look great, but I just would rather not like want to die during my workout. So, but and that's how like I can't tolerate heat. Some people can, and that's great. But for me, it was like it was rough.
Okay, so this is our last question we have time for. What would you tell your 20-year-old self?
Learn patience. Learn patience. I'm still telling my 37-year-old self that. So I'm still trying to learn that. But that's the biggest lesson is learn patience. And everything
That's
happens for
wonderful. Thank you so much, Katya, for being here today. I enjoyed meeting you so much and hearing your story. I wish you all the best. I can't wait to follow your career. I'm going to have all your information in the show notes, and I just want to thank you so much. I'm
Thank you so
Christina Flach, and I'm too busy.
This has been I'm Too Busy with host Christina Flach. Tune in each week as Christina approaches the concept of success holistically, recognizing that achievement is not solely measured by financial triumphs, but also by maintaining a healthy work-life balance and focusing on self-care. Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network, powered by B2 Studios.